breaking those patterns in new relationships. Maybe the problem was with me. Maybe the problem was not so easily placed on another person. Maybe I have to shoulder some of the responsibility in this situation. That's a tough pill to swallow. And politics in this particular regard are a lot like a relationship. See what happens to the GOP if it turns out the problem wasn't Obama, if they don't affect some major change, and if people aren't happier. What if people go home at night feeling awful? What if they don't go home at night feeling, yay, today was a better day because Republicans have control of the House and the Senate? Because that's what people are looking to do now. People that cast their votes, people that got off the couch, pulled the lever in the name of democracy and republicanism, if they don't start noticing tangible change, they're going to get angry real quick because they've been pushed around, they've been beaten around, and they've been forced to live in a way that they don't feel is in line with their principles and their morals for the last couple of years. And that resentment that they feel now is only going to grow unless things do change. And that's going to be impossible to avoid. Republicans, they got a couple of years. They're going to be under such scrutiny. They're going to be under such scrutiny not only by the people who elected them, but also by the Senate minority, Democrats, who now have the easier road to hoe of just going like, you're wrong, we're going to be obstructionist. People are going to have the microscope out like you would not believe. And the right is so divided already. Tea Party types, libertarians, they're so ready to jump all over Republicans at the slightest hint of hypocrisy, at the slightest hint of failure, at the slightest hint of corruption. People are so ready to jump all over Republicans in the House and in the Senate to a point where, for the first time that I can remember in my adult life, there might possibly maybe be a shred of real accountability in politics. Look, the way this could work out to the positive is it could remove the antiquated ideas of R&D, Republicans and Democrats. Hey, it sucked with Democrats in power. Now it sucks with Republicans in power. You know what? F all y'all. It could make people finally realize that voting down the line Republican or down the line Democrat is entirely meaningless, and it could take away a politician's ability to hide their sloth, hide their hubris, hide their stupidity, hide their lack of genuine public concern or anything of value to contribute. It could take away their ability to hide all of that behind the meaningless banner of a political party, and it could make us finally hold our elected officials accountable as individuals. And in a roundabout way, years later, thanks to negligence, thanks to corruption, thanks to ineptitude on either side of the political fence, in a roundabout way, thanks to all of that, I think we might finally have a little bit of hope for some of that change that was promised us all those years ago. So, don't get too excited. Don't feel too down. Let's just wait this one out and continue to live the best lives we can as individuals and see where it goes. Because if you're looking for a politician to make a difference in your day-to-day existence, you, my friend, are on a road to disappointmentville. Population you. Funkhauser, A, how are you? B, what is going on in the world? Let's take a look at the events of today in our segment, My Witness News. In no way, shape, or form fair. Certainly not balanced. How do you feel waking up this morning with the Republicans in control of the House and the Senate?
Good. It sounds like round one, fight. We'll see what happens for the next couple years.
Funkhauser is this guy that I think, the world would be a better place if we were all like Funkhauser. He is at an emotionally stable place in his life that most of us need years of therapy and considerable amounts of prescription medication to get to. He's so even about absolutely everything. And I find that whenever you're looking for a more realistic take on a particular situation, if you're looking for a balanced take on a situation, you can turn to Funkhauser. Have you ever really found that someone who was in office made a difference to your day-to-day existence on a local or national level?
Well, probably before I cared, the Reagan era was probably the last time anything like that happened.
But do you think that's like, I mean, you're 34, so what, born the year he was elected probably? I'm not so good at the math stuff, but like 1980, 1979, 1981. When were you born? 1980?
81.
81. So that's like the year after Reagan got elected. Probably not processing the effects of his presidency in the same way you would now at the age of 34 when you were 7.
Well, yes.
But so you have the, I don't know, it's the romanticism of it. It's like the Kurt Cobain thing. It's like the Jim Morrison thing. Oh, what would he be doing if he was alive and around now? Everything would be so freaking awesome. As Doug Stanhope said, no, maybe Kurt Cobain didn't have anything more to offer. Maybe he'd be shilling diet books and doing awful Super Bowl halftime shows with Elton John if he was still alive. You don't know. And I think it's so easy to romanticize a Reagan or a Kennedy or a Lincoln. Like Republicans love to go back to Lincoln. Like, that was a true spirit of republicanism. I was like, really? Really, was it? Is that in some way, shape, or form supposed to have any bearing on what's going on today? If that's what you hang your hat on, Lincoln's presidency, then you're a loser of such epic and shameful proportions that I just don't think you're worth this conversation. But, like, do you feel like as an adult there's ever been a moment where you go, hey, because of who's in office, this worked out better for me?
Yeah, probably. I just haven't kept track of it.
Right. There was a time a few years ago where I was ready to move. Like, I just felt like the country was in such a dark place, and I felt like there was I was one of those. Oh, God, maybe I'll move to Canada. Maybe I'll move back to England. Maybe I'll just, who knows? Like, I felt like, and it wasn't down to liking who was in office or not liking who was in office or liking who was in the House or the Senate or any of the above. It was just a general F all y'all. This is so broken. What's the point of anything? And I've come to the conclusion that rather than upset my life and move to a different country, it's just our job to navigate the terrain and do the very best we can as ourselves. And a lot of people will tell you that's a libertarian take on the world. And I would say, yeah, maybe, possibly, but I'm not going to identify myself as a libertarian because otherwise a bunch of pot-smoking rednecks are going to be like, I want to look at my collection of AR-15s. And quite frankly, I don't. Anyways, go on. What is happening in the world besides the post-electoral fallout?
Kendall Jenner just celebrated her 19th birthday.
Yeah, Kim Kardashian's kid sister. Her favorite gift? A new Mercedes. Her least favorite? An angry letter from her mom demanding that she quit messing around and shoot her sex tape already.
Money, money, money!
Go on.
Kris Jenner turns 59 today.
Yeah, Kendall Jenner's mom. I guess their birthdays are close together. I believe she's hoping to get gift cards from Bed, Bath, and Botox. Go on.
Kris Jenner says she's embarrassed by the mounting evidence Bruce Jenner is becoming a transsexual.
Yeah. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. There's your birthday gift. You're so awful to be around as a partner and as a woman. You made Bruce Jenner never want to be a man again, ever.
Can you rap? Yeah. What's that? Go ahead and rap for me one time. No. What would you say at a party? Jamming on the one. Jamming on the one. Jamming on the one like Theo Huxtable. Days like this when I feel untouchable. I try and make up for all the wrongs I did by living my life like a Cosby kid. Jamming on the one like Theo and Stevie. I know it sounds crazy, but you gotta believe me when I feel like I just can't make it It's harder than anything else on earth to observe the golden rule, especially when everyone you meet seems like a freaking tool, and you get the feeling that there's a lot of chlorine in the gene pool. Sometimes I get angry, I tell everyone to bite me, especially on days when the universe is trying to spite me. And it doesn't always work, but I remember that when I can, that I learned from TV as a kid what it takes to be a better man. And days when you stay positive, that's when you're truly free. That's when you're being the best you that you could ever be, and you're jamming on the one like Theo Huxtable. Days like this when I feel untouchable, I try and make up for all the wrongs I did by living my life like a Cosby kid. Jamming on the one like Theo and Stevie. I know it sounds crazy, but you gotta believe me. When I feel like I just can't make it through, I try to think, what would Cliff tell Theo to do? Man, we should all be so lucky as to have parents that care enough to put us in check like Clifford Huxtable and Claire. And if I ever have kids, I'm going straight to the Cosby reruns to get all the lessons I need to get that parenting right thing done. Like Bill, never forgetting the importance of a great education, that learning is knowledge and knowledge is creation. Not just so you can get a baller job and quick get to earning, but to help any kids I have know that there's joy in learning. And if there's a problem, there's a way to overcome. Like Theo's dyslexia, but he still got college done. And when a girl gives you a stupid nickname like Rudy did to Bud, it's probably just because she wants to give Kenny a hug. And if you're lucky enough to crawl in bed with a woman like Claire every night, you should love that woman all you can for the rest of your life. And when my family needs cheering up, I know just what I'll do. I'll hilariously lip sync to classic jazz and blues. I'll be jamming on the one like Theo Huxtable. Days like this when I feel untouchable, I try and make up for all the wrongs I did by living my life like a Cosby kid. Jamming on the one like Theo and Stevie. I know it sounds crazy, but you gotta believe me. When I feel like I just can't make it through, I try to think, what would Cliff tell Theo to do? Jamming on the one. 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 I learned all I need to know from the Cosby Show. I learned all I need to know from the Cosby Show. I learned all I need to know from the Cosby Show. I learned all I need to know from the Cosby Show. And I'm jamming on the one like Theo Huxtable. Days like this when I feel untouchable, I try and make up for all the wrongs I did by living my life like a Cosby kid. Jamming on the one like Theo and Stevie. I know it sounds crazy, but you gotta believe me. When I feel like I just can't make it through, I try to think, what would Cliff tell Theo to do?
You get to call, you get to hit that big note. Get inside now. Come on now.
But I still have not gutsed up and done it. At number 8 is Doctor Who. Number 7, a show I can't wait to catch up with, although I know I'm running out of time. Sons of Anarchy, it's in its final season, so yeah, I definitely have to get on that. The Real Housewives of New Jersey is at number 6. What's up, hometown? Madam Secretary is at number 5. At number 4 is Scandal. Yeah, that show's been doing pretty well across the board. Revenge is at number 3. The Good Wife, number 2. And at number 1, The Walking Dead. All right, guys, that's what you've been watching. I'll catch you next week.
That's this week's top TV streams.
Go ahead, favorite the show, and enjoy AD on the go. iHeartRadio presents AD.
Yep. It was an interesting election for stoners. We'll get into the whys and wherefores and what you can and cannot do and where you can and cannot do it after we finish up the news, our take on the events of today. Funkhauser, what else is going on in the world?
Well, Kris Jenner says she's embarrassed by... Oh, I already told you that. Kris Jenner was recently spotted at dinner with a mystery man. Kris saw paparazzi. Oh, that's yours.
Yeah. Yeah. She was embarrassed by the evidence that Bruce Jenner is becoming a transsexual. Yeah. That whole becoming a transsexual thing, I hate to break it to you, Chris, but the ship's already set.